Hey guys, RPM here. Hope you're doing well. Having another great day. In this video, I want to talk with you all that I am mentally preparing to change the thermal pads on like a lot of GPUs that are currently mining now. And you guys may have saw a video recently called the temperatures of my mining rigs at the hottest day of the year. And yeah, we realized in that video, a lot of my GPUs need to have the thermal pads changed no matter what the temperature is, no matter if we're using an open air rig, no matter if we're using an octo miner. We just cannot get past the stock thermal pads from, you know, let's say NVIDIA GPUs. I would say the AMD GPUs, like the 6000 series, are completely fine. But when it comes to like the GDDR6X memory, you know, like the 3070 Ti's, 3080s, and even the 3090s, some of the thermal pad brands or the AIBs are just horrible, like Gigabyte for instance, and Zotac and MSI. Those are the notable ones that I've experienced personally. But now more recently, I have experienced thermal throttling on even my Asus TUFs. I got EVGA 3070 Ti's, I got EVGA 3080 for the Win 3s, and even on some of my 3090 for the Win 3s. So I have a list here that I wrote down in my notebook of all the GPUs that I will probably thermal pad, okay? I just want to explain all of this to you guys, and this is where I will need help from you guys because I want to get the thermal pad thickness needed for some of those GPUs that I'm going to explain, which I will talk with you all in a sec here. So before we do that, this video is sponsored by Minerdude.com. They provide the best feature-rich server cases for GPU mining with HiveOS integration and are 100% based in USA, so shipping and customer support is faster and easier than ever. They accept crypto and bank wire as payments. Link down below to Minerdude.com. Alright, so GPUrisers.com sent me a massive amount of thermal pads, 3 mil, 2 mil, 2.5 mil, the 2 mil, and also the 1.5 millimeter thermal pads. I got a bunch of different ones here, but also Critical Pads also sent me some that are 0.75 mil. I got the 1 mil, 1.25 mil, and I got 2.25 mil. I know that on GPUrisers.com they actually have like the 1 mil thermal pads now, and some other sizes I just saw recently, so that's pretty cool. But right now available, I only have this and a lot of the other sizes, these 4 sizes from GPUrisers.com. So with that, with all the GPUs that I have here, so let me go through. Okay, this is where I will want some help from all of you. In terms of the thermal pad sizes I will need for, you know, some of these specific GPUs. So if you guys see any of your GPUs that you have thermal padded on this list, please let me know in the comments below. And just let me know the memory pads, okay? For most of these, which I talked with the Mining King, he is another crypto mining YouTuber who does thermal pad changes a lot. And we talked about, you know, just changing the thermal pads, not on like the whole GPU, like some of the smaller areas on the PCB, just on the memory pads, okay? And the memory pads on the back for like the 3070 Ti's, 3080s, 3090s. So I'm not too worried about the smaller sized pads for like the lines on the, I think the PWM, or I don't know, some other stuff that I don't think we need to do it, like the capacitors. You guys can let me know. But honestly, with how many GPUs I have to change here, okay, 74 in total, it's not going to be nice doing all of those thermal pad changes on all of these different GPUs. So I'm just going to focus on the mem pads on the front and on the back. All right, I'm just having that disclaimer there. So hopefully that will save me a lot of time. Anyways, first on the list here, thermal pad change that, you know, in the hottest day in that video, my Radeon 7s were getting pretty hot. Now, am I actually going to open up these Radeon 7s? Probably not. I just put these here because they were hot, but if someone has thermal padded Radeon 7s, let me know how it went. And if you code 43 or, you know, bricked your Radeon 7. All right, next rig here, 8x MSI 5700 MEX. or mech GPUs. So this is in an Octominer case, and you guys saw in that video, the temps on these were, yeah, over 100 and, I don't know, 5, 106, 110 Celsius on the memory. So definitely these have a major issue with the thermal pads. I need to change them. And so let me know if you guys know what the millimeter size, I believe it's 2 from what I Googled and what I just, saw on the internet. So that should be easy, but you guys can let me know. Next build is the 12 by A2000s. I need to change, all my A2000s. They're pretty hot in the Octominer X12. So you guys can let me know the thermal pads for this, as well as my 12 by A2000 modded, okay, the power mod or the shunt mod A2000 rig. Those are also very hot on the mem chips because essentially we're pumping more power, and thus, when they were mining at like 50 or 49 mega hash, the mem temps were over 100, 105 or something. So I definitely need to change those ones as well. Okay, now going down, we got 6x EVGA 3080 for the win. This is also an Octominer, and just telling you all, like, all of these are in an Octominer. If you saw that video that I did, I'll have it linked down below. But anyways, these EVGA 3080s for the Win 3s, these are non-LHR. Now, yes, these are somewhat thermal throttling, I believe. And so I just don't know which thermal pads I will need for this. Now, I just remembered something. GPUrisers.com actually has like a spec sheet of which thermal pad sizes are needed for certain GPUs, right? The 3080s, 3090s, 3070 Ti's. And so I can mostly go with those numbers on their website, but you guys can let me know what the thermal pads are on the front and on the back as well. Okay, going along, I have an 8x EVGA 3070 Ti rig for the Win 3s. Now, yeah, these were also throttling because the mem temps were extremely hot. So yeah, I gotta change the pads on those. You guys can let me know what numbers are on the front and back just for the mem pads. Next one is the 8x Asus TUF 3080s. Now, these were definitely really bad. The mem temps were going over 110 degrees Celsius. So I heard that the Asus TUFs are pretty hard to change according to the Mining King. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a great time with that or not. But also critical thermal pads. They sent me these a while ago. These are the Asus RTX 3080 or 3080 Ti TUF custom GPU set thermal pad kit. So I have 3 of them here, so I could probably just go along with these. That should be no problem. I don't have a caliper to measure the thermal pad sizes, so that's something I don't know. Maybe I'll just order, or I can just eye it. I don't know. I can just look online, I'm sure, for the sizes for the mem pads for the Asus TUFs. But these are, seriously, these are just really bad. They're thermal throttling, and also the mem temps are just really bad during the hot days of the summer right now. Okay, next rig is the 8x Flux Solo rig. All right, this rig was also on fire. Not on fire literally, but in HiveOS it was showing a fire symbol. So I believe one of the 2080 Ti's or 3080 Ti's, something like that, was really hot. As well, I did have some 1660 Ti's that were really hot as well. So I need the thermal pad. I need the thermal pad that whole rig. I'll show the HiveOS temps so you guys can see what the general, I don't know what brands and models they are, but you guys can let me know down below if you look at that and pause this video. All right, now the last rig here is the 6x EVGA 3090 for the Win 3 rig. Now, it was on that hottest day, I believe it was thermal throttling. I'm not quite sure, but the mem temps were hovering around 100. Now, when it's like a colder, like throughout the whole year, this 3090 rig in an X12 Ultra was just fine, right? If you guys look at the temperatures right now, or on that hottest day, it was pretty bad. But I mean, I'd have to say for the rest of the year, it was fine. So I'm not quite sure if I really need to change the 3090s or not. I heard it's, again, for the Win 3s are decently, I guess, hard to change. I'm not quite sure. Again, I will probably just do the mem pads, what I talked about before when I talked to the Mining King. That should save a lot of time, but you guys can let me know. So there you guys go. There's my whole list of 74 GPUs that I need to change. And you guys are wondering, Red Panda, what about your other GPUs that you have? Well, like for instance, my 3060s, my 3070s, like anything below GDDR6X, like the 3070 Ti's, I don't need to change because it seems like they're completely fine in terms of temperatures. Obviously, we can't see the mem temps in HiveOS, but honestly, if they're getting all the same hash rate and the core temps seem to be fine, and I know for a fact with GDDR6 memory, and not 6X, but 6, it seems to be like that memory is much cooler. So I have not needed to change the thermal pads for those types of GPUs, right? You guys can let me know down below. But notably, right, all these, you know, companies, GP risers, we got critical thermal pads in the past year that have come out with thermal pads for the 3080s, 3090s, and 3070 Ti's, because ultimately we're all, you know, I would say most of the GPU miners out there are changing their thermal pads because the stock thermal pads are just terrible, because that we were mining Ethereum, right? But I did do a video recently on this Gigabyte changing the thermal pads, because on Ravencoin and Ethereum, right, or ETH hash algorithm, it's memory dependent, that it was getting really hot. And Ravencoin is, I guess, core and memory. It uses both of the memory and core architecture like to the max. And so the whole GPU was hot, the memory was over 110 or something, so I had to change the thermal pads on this one, and it ultimately dropped it down like another 30 degrees Celsius or something on the memory, which was great. But we did confirm that like Ergo or Flux what seemed to be fine on just mining on stock thermal pads on this Gigabyte. But I think just generally overall it is good to change the thermal pads, because yeah, we're gonna run into heat issues down the road. No matter if we're using octominers or open air rigs, you know, the ambient temperature, depending on the scale that you are running your mining rigs, like you guys know, in my basement here, I have a lot of GPUs, right? And they produce a lot of heat. So depending on the ambient air and just the way that you manage your mining rigs and how they're all placed and how you exhaust all of your air out, right? You guys know I just built this wall. No matter what, you know, NVIDIA screwed us in terms of the stock thermal pads on all of these types of GPUs. Actually, not NVIDIA, but I'm talking about like all the AIBs and, you know, Asus, EVGA, Zotac, MSI, Gigabyte, all these brands basically did not have a good way, or didn't provide good enough thermal pads from the factory to be able to handle all of that, all the memory temperatures that we've been seeing recently when we are all mining. And of course gamers, they probably don't even, you know, gamers probably don't really matter too much. They don't really see the mem temps at all or don't care about it. But that is going to affect those guys as well, because if they're running it hot and then they stop gaming, you know, off and on, turning off, you know, after gaming their PC, it could, you know, damage some things. Anyways, I'm just ranting. I want you guys to know, judging by this list, please let me know the, you know, general thermal pad sizes, just the mem pads, okay, not the little tiny, you know, the strips on, you know, this side, the capacitors, the VRM, whatever. I'm not going to change those. I'm just going to change the thermal pads, all right, on the front and back. You guys can let me know if that's a good idea or not. But honestly, I think it's fine. It's probably fine to do that. All right, so let me know, guys, the millimeter sizes thermal pads I need for all of these GPUs. And I'm probably going to start with the MSI 5700 mech next. Oh, and also the mech GP. I don't know if this is a different model, like, but they have the same cooler, but the PCIe is in a different location. Anyways, yeah, I'll talk about that when I start doing this one. I think I'm going to start with the MSI 5700s first in that video. So I've seen people do 1 mil or 1.5 or 2 mil. Yeah, you guys can let me know. All right, my friends, that's all I want to do in this video. I'm just getting mentally prepared to do this thermal pad job, and I'll probably do one every couple days, every other day or something. I don't know. I hate changing thermal pads. I really do. I really do. All right, my friends, have a good one, and peace out.